Non-Americans of Reddit, would you consider moving to the United States? Why or why not? Seems like a beautiful country filled with some great people. However, I wouldn't live there until they sort out workers' rights and the health service. No. I don't like their health management issues. Work issues. Worker rights and politics. Holidays, yes. But not to live. It's far too polarized and feels dangerous. Absolutely not. I had an ex who was American. And we both agreed we'd rather live on this side of the Atlantic. For a myriad of reasons, from healthcare to education to pensions to work ethics and worker rights. At home, we've 480 days of guaranteed paid parental leave. We've guaranteed 5 weeks of paid vacation per year. And unlimited sick days. I won't have to work with slave wages because the unions wouldn't allow it here. As an employee, I don't ever feel powerless against my employer. I don't think I could ever give up all our worker rights to move to a country where not only do employees not seem valued, they seem expected to sacrifice their physical and mental health at the altar of corporate profits, at no reward. Because that's the work ethics. You could not pay me enough to move to the US. I like being in a crowded place and being fairly certain nobody around me has a gun. It's a beautiful country. I suppose any country that size will be, since they have it all. But holy shit, what a political shit show it is. And I enjoy my free education and free health care and great benefits. So no. Nah man. My wife got asthma and allergies. The medical costs would ruin any potential fun. I'd happily come visit and eat all your food in your parks though. Majority of the people seem great, but nah. Australia's got everything for me. Love it too much. Don't like the political and social turmoil over there and the crime as well. The healthcare, guns, education system, anti-reproductive rights, the religion, workers' rights. It's all too much. No. In the UK I get around 35 days paid leave every year, which I am openly encouraged and in some cases required to take. I get 6 months fully paid sick leave if I need it. My health care is free of charge. Yes, the NHS has issues. But if I wind up needing treatment for cancer, I won't end up with £1 million bill at the end. I don't worry about my kids getting shot at school. No. I'm an Australian with complex medical needs and your healthcare system is terrifying. And I'm absolutely not into subjecting my children to school shooter drills. No. Reasons. 1. Horrible healthcare system. 2. Horrible workers' rights. 3. It feels like I will have to be in debt to enjoy anything in life. Home, car, etc. Lived there for a while and loved my time in the US, but I wouldn't move back while my kids are school age. The idea that they'd have to have regular active shooter drills at school feels like it would rob them of some of their innocence. Workers' rights and health care are obvious factors too. Plus, also, I like that I am free to just cross the street whenever and wherever I want to. No. Women's rights, healthcare, gun control, or lack thereof, politics. I'm Australian and don't even feel a desire to travel there. I already know I'm gonna get heated replies, but here we go. I moved to Tallahassee, Florida for college almost exactly a year ago. I was able to get a license pretty easily and thanks to my GF who has a car lol. She's an American citizen born in my country, so this is also her first time really living in the US. We've been able to drive and visit plenty of Florida. My time here has been great tbh. Aside from a couple incidents of xenophobia, I really have no complaints. The people are nice. Strangers say hi to you and say excuse me and sorry. Except if you work in retail. National forests and parks are amazing and you're never too far away from one. I see many comments about the healthcare industry situation, so I'll follow with this funny story. During one of my school's football game, I got way too drunk and slipped and fell headfirst into the bleachers below me. Someone in the stands called the cops and they took care of me while the EMTs arrived. They then took me to the ambulance area where they assessed my injuries and suggested I was taken to the hospital for an MRI given my head injury. I was bleeding quite a bit. One ambulance ride and 2 MRIs later they discharged me as they ruled out any serious head injury. And I had sobered up by then. My girlfriend gave them my insurance. International students are required to have one, which is incredibly basic, and a few days later in the mail I received a bill for $8,000. Obviously I was panicking because I definitely did not have $8K just laying around. Shortly thereafter, after my insurance got in touch with me and knocked it down to $240, and that's all I had to pay. Now, with that being said, I do understand people's complaints about the healthcare system. It can be unnecessarily expensive, especially if you take daily prescription medications. But as long as you do your research and find an insurance plan that covers your need, you should be fine. My GF uses Florida Blue, and that covers everything from her ADHD meds, birth control, anxiety meds, doctor visits, and everything in between. Of course, there's many Americans who aren't as fortunate to afford proper healthcare, but in the context of this post, if someone can afford to move to the US, they can afford proper healthcare. On the topic of gun violence, it's definitely a problem where I live, but it's mainly between rival gangs. There hasn't been an incident of random gun violence in my area, or even the whole county rather, in my whole year here. I don't feel unsafe in crowds, and I have been to plenty of private and public events. I do realize that most of my time in the US has been in a college town which is also a capital city. So all in all it's pretty safe. But I've also walked the streets of Orlando and Miami drunk and high at 2 a.m. and didn't feel any more in danger than I would in my own country, which as of recently has skyrocketed in pickpockets and burglaries. You just gotta keep your wits about you as you would in any other place. Now, would I stay in the US after I finish college and build a life here? Most likely not, but it's purely for personal reasons. I have friends who got jobs in other states straight out of college and seem to be doing fine for themselves, and friends who moved back home for jobs, so I've heard both sides. As much as I've enjoyed living and traveling in the US, and will continue to do so, it's just not really the endgame for me. I identify too much with my culture for me to just leave it all behind after 21 years. If by a stroke of luck I manage to get a job offer and a work visa and the offer is too good to refuse, then absolutely sign me up, but in reality I could go either way. I'll just end with this. The US is a huge fucking place. There's good and bad. People not in the US don't seem to understand the immense diversity even neighboring states can have from each other, and more so within states. For example, North and South Florida. They almost feel like two completely different countries. Some comments bring up great points as to why they wouldn't, and other are just misinformed.